So quick recap of a missed trade today. High time frame daily, we can see this inverse fair value gap having a small balance price range on the daily, which held as support and was currently also holding as support. Looking at the H1, so I should actually do the replay function. What I could see, enormous gap, new weekly open gap, day open gap, due to the whole Trump and his tariffs thingy. I mark out the high because you can take into account that once it breaks, it tends to fail quite quickly, or it tends to fail. Until then, I treat it as resistance. This was a low. I can take this away because it's not relevant anymore. So when I look to the 15 minutes, what I see here is that ES is already tagged that level already, while NQ did not. So I go to the 5 minutes and then we can see price developing. And what caught my eye? My eye was caught by an SMT being formed. So what I could see here is that there is a lower high tagging that gap, combined with a higher high for NQ, which triggers my interest in combination with that daily open gap, which makes a good setup for an A+ setup, in my opinion. So what I do, I marked out the 5 minute change in the state here as well. And I was also eyeing, or at least taking into account, this 5 minute IFVG being broken to the downside. So that one got broken to the downside, retested, tagged it here. You can see it. So it closed below, tagged it again, and then fell below. So here was the moment where I started to pay attention. Then I switched back and forth in between the M1 and the M5. So if I go back to the M1, you can see the levels already, of course. So what I do not know for sure, if this will be the first and only tag into the change in the state. It also tagged the 5 minute inverse fair value gap, both on ES and NQ. So that could be an aggressive entry, meaning that you can go short here with a high either on the IFVG or at the, let's say, normally I would take the 5 minute wick before price, let's say, entered the IFVG to close it lower, and then target maybe these levels or otherwise the level below, because that was my draw on liquidity. This level was taken and you could see like a market maker buy side and then the sell side on this. So my idea was that there is patience, because my assumption was that if this is going to be sell side, you're going to have multiple moves down before this liquidity is being tagged. Because this is all liquidity to get ran and then intermediately run back up again. That was my thesis for this price action. So I was watching this, and here actually there was an M1 gap created. Can I pause this? No, I'm actually going to do it. Okay, so let's see if it works. Okay, it works. So here was the a normal FVG. That could be like a second entry, not in the M5, the M1. That could have been the second entry, but normally I tend to wait to see, because price will always bounce up aggressively in before making the final move. So my idea was I prefer to go, let's see, when it hits this M1 again, with the stop here. And I think I had a 3R trade. I think it's, let me check. I will check the orders in a bit. So I think this was my setup. And I was waiting and waiting. And here price got really aggressive. So my idea was, okay, I expect these highs to get taken first. And I was looking for a better RR. So this, I think, was a better RR. But once price broke through this, I was thinking, okay, they both tag the change in the state again. They do not take this high. They also don't go back into this 5 minutes. So what I will do is I will wait for a 1 minute close below this 1 minute fair value gap, then go short and take the stop either here or here, whatever my risk appetite is. So I was waiting here for a 1 minute close below, and you could see it tagged it a couple of times. So this close was just in the fair value gap. A new fair value gap was opened here as well, but I decided not to, let's say I marked it out, but I decided also to not let it influence, let's say, the trade setup, because these more or less overlap. So I thought, okay, this one was holding, it broke, but if it breaks downwards again, then it's for me a proper setup for a short. So let's play price. And then suddenly, oh yeah, so this one was still not closing below. Let's just delete this one. So this one was still not closing below, and the second one was quite further down. And I kept my order in this position. I can show it, maybe I have a screenshot. And then price ran away, but it was actually creating a almost, I think, bullish fair value gap. Sorry, a bullish S&T, I wanted to say, yeah, more or less. At first it was, but then it was not, because ES was catching up in the move. And this was actually the point where I decide, okay, so when do I think a trade is still valid and when is it not valid anymore? So I saw a new fair value gap being created here. Let's just move this to the side. I saw a new fair value gap getting created here, which would be like a logical entry or at least another shot for a short. So it tags these highs and then maybe a stop above here. So I decided, okay, I also had some errands to run. So I deleted these orders. I canceled it, I think about around this time. And then I think in like a couple of minutes, price actually hit my level once. And then it dropped, but then it started chopping up and down. And I think there was a violent, because at this moment I was already away from the desk. But it also shows to me that patience is quite important. So actually the price action itself, as you see here, it's not my favorite, because now it is, let's say, it hit this level. It took out this liquidity into, I think it was a 5 minute fair value gap here as well. And then it runs up, gets into the initial setup, almost tags this high. I think actually my stop was here. My stop was here and the entry was here. Okay, well, you know, it's all details. I think I put it right above here. So it just didn't got tagged and then it started running away. So it shows that actually patience is quite important, but I do not know for sure that if I did get my entry here, I didn't pull my order, if I would actually, I think I would have trailed my stops to break even, so I would not get this move. But what you can see is that afterwards, price beautifully hits the target. So the setup, the idea was correct. And it was also correct, and I think this is also part of that market make a buy and sell order, that you get nice confluent price action, and that there is always, let's say, one last wick up to catch as much liquidity as they can to then run down. So In all honesty, if I would have taken my trade here, I would have trailed my stop loss at least to this level or to this level, and then I would have been stopped out up here. But it's a note for me that first to have patience, because the setup will come. Actually, it was in my plan beforehand. And then I should take into account that, especially when a market maker model like this plays out nicely, that you can have some unexpected wicks. And Q apparently was having a bit more violent move, because that was the time when price was again creating a, was it actually an SMT? I don't think so, actually. I just got lower, you know, these just, I think these were equal lows, equal highs. So it's like a weak SMT. But still, you know, it got into that level again here as well. It rejected quite quickly. So there's a lot of opportunity to get into the trade, and it got level here as well. And I think afterwards it ran to the upside quite quickly. So the target was complete, and then it was time to go up again. So for the buys for the rest of the day, I think when US opens, we'll have quite some volatility, especially also with the tariffs. My assumption is that we move up a bit first. Yeah, this is good price action. We move up violently first, and then I assume we take another move down. Let's see.